What's up, guys? Another video, another day, and it's me, Rick. If you're here for the first time, I'm the one that predicts fights, and a lot of times I'm right. I don't always get them right, but I pretty much get a lot of the big ones right, including Mayweather, Canelo, Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux, where a lot of people said I was wrong. I know nothing about boxing. All the receipts on this channel. So I want to talk about something I just read. Now, if you've been watching this channel, and it's not hindsight, it's been stated before, and I broke down the fight over and over for you all. Canelo versus Crawford. I told you why Canelo Alvarez is gonna lose. Is just gonna get straight up outboxed. Very easy prediction. Dana White, if it's true, allegedly, I just found out, bet 10.5 million, even if you bet 1 million. Hey, listen, Dana White should have been watching this channel. Someone should have forwarded my fight breakdown to him and saved him some money. In fact, I could have told him who was going to win the fight. Dana White could have blessed me. He could have hooked me up with some cashola to tell him who was going to actually win this fight. I could have saved this man if he did, in fact, bet $10.5 million or even $2 million or $1 million or $3 on the fight, which is insane, a waste of money. I could have told him, you're wasting your money. Don't do that. Bet on Crawford to win via decision, and this is why. Of course, if Dana White was saying, like many other so-called fake boxing experts, because Dana White doesn't know boxing. He knows MMA, maybe. He knows the business, doesn't know boxing. I hear a lot of people, they say they know boxing and they get it consistently wrong when there's fighters, proven fighters with big track records, all the analytics on the boxer, their stats, everything, like Crawford versus Canelo over many years is just in plain sight. You can study the fighters, you can put it all together. Like I said, well, I get all the data together like a stock ETF, like I would invest, like if I'm going to invest in VOO again, let's say, because I have a lot of VOO. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a great ETF that always goes up. So I looked at all the analytics for years. I've been watching these guys. In fact, I told you Canelo Alvarez was going to lose to Floyd Mayweather, which indeed did happen. And I said it would make it, Floyd would make it look easy. And that's when Canelo was young and in his prime. Now, a lot of Canelo fans are very, very jaded. They're upset. They were disillusioned by the marketing of Canelo Alvarez. They thought he was some great pound-for-pound fighter. And I told you many times, he's not. He's really good, and he's a good fighter, but he's going to lose against fighters, especially specifically boxers like a Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather kind of just showed you early on what he was going to do and how he did it, how it was going to play out if Canelo's going to fight someone like Crawford. See, it was all there. Floyd was already an older fighter, already established in his career, and the hope was probably that at a 23-year-old Canelo, the promoters, they took a chance, we're going to capitalize on Floyd's age. They believed, they had a belief that maybe he could catch Floyd at the right time, but they didn't realize Floyd still had a lot left at that point in time in his career. So a lot of young fighters in 23, Tito Trinidad, they were like unstoppable. A young Mike Tyson in their prime. A lot of the Canelo fans make excuses. Well, Canelo was only 23. He wasn't that good yet. They're just lying to themselves, and it's just false information. Because if you look historically throughout boxing, 23-year-old to 25-year-old age range, pound-for-pound legends were just unstoppable at that age. They were not going to lose. It wasn't going to happen. Greatness was to follow. And a lot of the times when you have a fighter like Canelo and people forgot about it, let's remarket him. They did a great thing, the marketing team. I see people in the background as I'm doing this. I close my windows. But anyway, the marketing team, you got to give them credit, the promoters, because they made you and a lot of other people forget that Canelo Alvarez lost to GGG, even though the judges, three people, whoever, I don't know who they were, they got it wrong. It was biased. It was BS. They gave it a draw gift. To beat Canelo, like I said before, you have to overwhelmingly beat him. You have to beat him so bad. Like Crawford had to beat him so one-sided for Crawford to get this decision. That's why going into the fight, my only worry was that the judges were going to rip Crawford off, and they did, in fact, try to rob him by the guy at ringside, Skip, I think his name was, had it right. He had the fight judged pretty much the way we were looking at it. Most of the rounds were for Canelo to lose on that scorecard, ringside, that Netflix judge. You got to give that guy props because he had it close. Now, I don't need to judge the fight. My eyes were seeing what I predicted. Just straight up outclassing. Yes, an outclass. If you're honest and you know boxing, you know Canelo Alvarez was outclassed by a fighter who's not only older, you can't make excuses. It's just not going to happen. Not only older, almost 38, but from another weight class. He never fought professionally on his world stage at that weight class. Went up 2, 3 weight classes and did what he did against Canelo. Jaws drop on the floor. Vegas had it wrong. They don't know what they're doing. Boxing experts, so I use that term boxing expert, it always bothers me loosely because I see a lot of people that are not boxing experts. Let's just be straight up. Robert Garcia may be a trainer, may know boxing, but he's no boxing expert because he got such an easy fight wrong, an easy fight to predict wrong, whereas I would probably challenge him to predict a lot of fights right and go on streaks. It's probably hard for him to do. See, that's where the irony lays. The irony is that a lot of these people, they know boxing, they know the names, they know the footwork, they could be trainers, they know the end swells, they know the adrenaline, what you put on cuts, they know everything about boxing, but they don't get predictions right. And that's where the true boxing expert's mind, high boxing IQ comes in, where you visualize, you get all the stats, the data. I'm not saying I'm right all the time, because I'm not. I've been wrong on this channel. You can go back and see those when I'm wrong, but I'm pretty much, I never statistically added it up, but I feel like I'm 75% right and up. I went on boxing streaks. It's all here on this channel. I won prizes, Showtime, twice prizes for getting so many fights. They had literally tiers, and you would predict every week, and you get a prize, 10 streak, 12 streak, 13, 14, and it was even harder because those fighters weren't even known. I had to dig into box records to look at what they were doing, because they weren't established fighters and known like Canelo, and had a track record with a lot of videos like Crawford. So it was even easier for me to pick a fight like this. So the next prediction should be fun. Anyway, I want to break down Keith Thurman. I'm gonna look into that fight because someone asked, and I got to deliver on that. But anyway, so if Dana White really put all this money up, damn, $10+ million. I could have took like even just 300,000 of that and put it into like VU or QQQ and watch it probably go up 10 to 14% in a year. Wow, just a waste of money, a monumental waste of money just given to a casino where I made videos. I was telling you all, Vegas got it wrong. Vegas doesn't have this right. I was convinced, I was absolutely convinced on this one, because I knew Crawford was not a good fighter, a good little man. Always gets beat by the bigger, good guy, good fighter. No way. No way. I'm telling you right now, I was telling you before, Crawford is a great little man. He's amazing. He's on another level, and he wasn't even that much smaller. I was like, wait a minute, they're talking about he's so small, but if you watched, Floyd Mayweather was no light heavyweight. I said in my last video, super middleweight. Look what Floyd Mayweather did to him. And these people, these fake boxing experts, Mario Lopez, an actor, personality type, is telling you that Crawford was going to lose. He hits like ping pongs. He knows nothing about boxing. Nothing. Because he was just thinking, his thinking was, a lot of these fans were thinking, Canelo fans, because like I said, they were fooled by marketing and the way Canelo was matched. He was always matched for the most part against fighters he could beat. You know, they kept him away from Beevils. They kept him away. You know, he did fight GGG, and GGG aged out, but he did win that first fight. Kept him away from the Floyd Mayweathers. You got to match these guys right and promote a product and sell him as pound-for-pound legends, and he's not. But Mario Lopez was saying Crawford, Floyd couldn't hurt Canelo. Canelo doesn't get knocked out. So Crawford's punches, he's so smaller, it's going to be like ping pong balls to the chin. Has no idea what he's talking about. Like I said in the last video, you could take any fighter like Buster Douglas. Here's what I present to you, versus Mike Tyson. Going into that fight, Mike Tyson was utterly unstoppable. He was like the Godzilla of boxing. He couldn't be defeated. He was the most amazing, unbelievable boxer ever, fighter, puncher, knockout artist, and he couldn't be hurt. He could get hit in the chin over and over, and you won't see Mike Tyson, this amazing, and he was amazing fighter, get knocked out. And Buster Douglas kept hitting him over and over and over. And you saw Crawford wobble Canelo. You saw those shots hurting. And I was saying before the fight, again, before the fight, I was going to say that because a lot of these fake boxing experts will go on here and they act like they predicted this fight right, when a lot of them got it wrong, and they'll start to break down the fight after and show you videos and all that. That's just for clicks and views, and just trying to act like they knew before the fight that Crawford's going to win. A lot of those guys, they didn't know he was going to win. That's why they would say, my heart says Crawford, my mind says Canelo. Cop out. You know, pull the receipts up, you'll see. But anyway, I could see Floyd Mayweather's punches were bothering and hurting Canelo. Uppercuts, hooks, they were hurting him. And he was definitely wobbled and rocked in his fight. And I go again, you got to look at the psychology of the fighter. You got to read the body language. I'm really good at reading body language and looking at psychology. The psychology was the psychological effect of these athletes are huge. Like I was making an analogy over and over about Canelo, you know, he couldn't, it's seemingly, like Robert Garcia said, he didn't do anything, he didn't do enough. It's because he didn't do enough. He got shut down. It was like swimming uphill. It was like diving into a wave and getting pushed back, that you could, no matter what Canelo tried to do, and he tried, he couldn't. He was thwarted by Crawford's amazing ring genius, his style and his psychological, his will. He posed his will on him, and he just said, you could see it, turned away and mumbled to himself, I can't do shit with this guy. He just basically said it like that during the fight. You could just see his body language. The psychology was there, which is huge. The psychological mindset of a champion, of an athlete, of a fighter is so important. That's why if you flash back to Michael Moorer versus George Foreman, incidentally, as a kid, I predicted that fight right. Unfortunately, I don't have proof because I don't have the videotape, but my friends will tell you I predicted that fight right. They said, this kid is crazy. I said, George Foreman's going to knock out Michael Moorer. He's got a weak chin. And Teddy Atlas was in the corner because he understands the psychological mind, the psyche of a fighter. He understood psychologically that you have to, with a fighter like Michael Moorer, he was always doubting himself. He had to literally become a therapist in the corner in between the rounds. If you watch that fight, I just remember him working him. It looked crazy. It looked like almost like he was like almost like abusing him, but he was trying to, he knew his fighter and he knew the things that would trigger him, and he knew what he had to say as a really good trainer to Michael Moorer to try to get him to stop doubting himself and come over those psychological hurdles. So there's so much of that going on in the ring. So when you have an undefeated, amazing athlete, physically a physical specimen that could jump this weight class and go up, and he's undefeated, he's never been in those waters where he ever lost, whereas Canelo was already in those waters many times. He knew he was losing. They know when they're losing, and he's been a loser before. I'm not saying it in a bad way. He's lost, Canelo, before, so he already has that scar, if you will, in his mind. So he knew, okay, I'm losing, and Crawford had just had to open the door and show him again, look, you're losing again because you can't beat me. So you think that psychologically that didn't have an effect on Canelo? It did, and you could see him shrinking during the bout. You could see him literally, physically, like, I can't do nothing with this guy. You could just see it materialize right before your very eyes. And again, which is most shocking, I would laugh, these so-called boxing experts and some of these fans that accused me of not knowing boxing, and they always do it. At this point, they're trolling because I have the record and the receipts of consistent. I'm being consistent. Yeah, I'm wrong here and there, but I'm consistent for the most part when I predict bouts and I tell you what's going to happen. But a lot of these guys were thinking, they were so gassed up, they were so conned, if you will. They were so sold that Canelo was a pound-for-pound bigger man, legend, and all this stuff, that they actually thought, I was laughing. This is a real laugh. I'm not acting or performing in any way. I actually laughed to myself. They thought he was going to go in there, Canelo, and knock out Crawford. And I was saying it before the fight, I was like, these people are crazy. They think that they're so gassed up, they're so disillusioned, they're living in such a fantasy world because they've been so punked by all the promoters and all this BS about Canelo being so big. They actually in their mind thought Canelo was going to be like Godzilla, and Crawford was going to be like a tiny little man in there and looking up. It became real in their minds, the selling, the marketing of Canelo Alvarez. You guys got punked. I'm sorry. You guys got owned. You guys got punked, hustled, hoodwinked, and you guys got conned into believing that Canelo was always something which he wasn't. And I always knew, the day he fought Floyd and the day I predicted that fight, that he's a really good fighter. He is. I'm not discrediting him. He's really good. And if you match him up right, he will look great. But he's lost to a couple people. Those draws are losses. Someone like GGG, who got a draw with him, or Laura, right, would have to beat Canelo so bad where they couldn't give it the draw. It'd have to appear like we can't. I mean, they would still probably do it early in Canelo's career because there's a lot of politics going on, allegedly, behind the scenes with promoters and judges. I don't know. Teddy Atlas made reference to this years ago. There's some, maybe, I don't know, allegedly some greasing, of the palms, some cash going in places. I don't know. Or some judges, maybe referees and stuff getting hired again, and I don't know, who knows. Anything's possible. Sport's not regulated, but listen, the long story short, at the end of the day, hate saying that, but I just said it. Canelo Alvarez was fool's gold. He was never a pound for pound great with a rarefied air type of skills. Never had it like that. The guy couldn't even throw a effing jab. And you're telling me he's gonna beat a superior fighter like Crawford? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? I don't care what weight it is. What is that? Canelo, I think that Canelo at 36 couldn't even beat Crawford if they rematch right away at 38. The same thing will happen over and over and over. And in a second fight, if they have it soon, within a year from now, within that year, I would favor a knockout now on Crawford. Crawford could have knocked him out, but he didn't get greedy, like I said in the fight plan. He had to stay back, even though Canelo was weakening, and he was looking on shaky ground, shaky legs, and it played out just like I thought, and he did the right thing. Crawford was just the better fighter, and again, he outclassed him. Suck it up. If you're having problems with it as a Canelo fan, you got to deal with reality. No matter what excuse you make, Crawford is way better. It's not even a little better, way better than Canelo ever was and ever will be as a fighter. And that makes him really special, because Canelo's not a bum. Canelo's a really, really good fighter. No doubt. No doubt. A really good fighter. You know, it's not hate. It's just facts. It's just calling it like I see it. I'm telling you. I loved Manny Pacquiao, and I told you all, I'm a fan, but Manny Pacquiao's going to lose to Floyd Mayweather right on his channel. It wasn't even a popular video. I made like a vlog type video out of it. I didn't clickbait it, and I'm telling you, I saw that fight. I said Floyd Mayweather's going to it's going to be boring. It's going to outclass him. It's going to box his head off. Exactly what happens. Anyway, I'm out.